Good evening and welcome to the second episode podcast of Twisted Cracker, and that's Cracker with a K. Tonight we have a special guest, and the guest is my beautiful and lovely wife, and I am her husband. Kim, say hi.
What up?
And that's Kim with a K.
Kim with a K.
So Kim is rather reluctant to speak. She's very kind of shy. She doesn't like videos. She doesn't like podcasts. And believe it or not, I thought I was going to have to talk her into this. And she actually brought it to my attention that she wanted to actually speak about her father because her father was local to all of us. She'll delve into this, tell us a little bit more about it, but he was born and raised here, Boca Grande, and I'll let her divulge the story and go into it. So with that being said, Kim, we're just going to wrap right into it. So what was your father's name?
A typical Southern cracker name, Ernie.
Ernie.
Ernest. Ernie.
Mm-hmm.
He's more like Ernie.
Ernie. So where did Ernie grow up?
He grew up in Boca Grande. He was born and raised in Boca Grande. His parents were actually born in Lake City, Florida, and their parents were born in Georgia. And on and on and on. My ancestors pretty much came into, well, the original came from Canada, came into Canada, and they settled in North Carolina. So I'm as southern as they get.
This is true. It's true. You're a firecracker. I got the attitude to go with it, too.
And just to go back about how I don't like to do these talks and stuff, I'm more like Silent Bob, but for some reason I'm rolling right now, so I'm just going to go with it.
Just go with it. That's cool.
You're more like Jay.
Yeah,
Jay
nigga news.
Jay and Silent Bob.
Well, Bob, you're not too silent right now. Anyway, your name is Kim with a K. So, anyway, we're going to roll into it. So, Ernest, was born in Boca Grande?
Yeah, he was born in Boca Grande.
Okay. And then he grew up, his lifestyle out there, was that of one of a...
Bare feet. Bare feet running around.
Well, but he went to school here locally, or what? How did that
He
go?
went to elementary school in Boca Grande, and then that's the time where elementary school went into junior high, and Lemon Bay was a junior high and a high school.
Now, did he go good? Did
So
he
he
come
went
off
in-
of island to go to Lemon Bay, or did he stay?
Yeah, he had to come off the island and went to Lemon Bay, but only went to 9th grade and then went into Vietnam.
Whoa! So he was in 9th grade, so that would have put him, what, 15, 16 years old?
Yeah, there probably was a period of time before he went into Vietnam. But
Okay, so he
yeah.
so he left school, decided to do other things. School wasn't his thing when he was 9th grade. Just pursued other things. Do you know that gap when he was in his teen years? What he did before he shipped out?
I'm sure they were trying to find all kinds of work of construction, fishing. My grandfather worked at the at Placida. What was the name? What was that called? Placida fishing.
With a fishery?
The fishery there.
It's too bad that's gone. This world that had a massive amount of history in it. Of which, I'm going to break right here just for a second. I just want to add in there, if anybody's listening to this podcast and they have any history, anything about the fishery down there, Placida, Boca Grande area, want to share it, reach out to us on our website, www.twistedcracker.com. That's cracker with a K. You can also find us on Facebook. So anyway, I apologize about that. Just want to put that in there real quick because anytime we get a chance to touch on local history, we want to, and the fishery goes way back. Way back. So I just wanted to put that out there. Anyway, carrying on, he worked at the fishery? Or was that your uncle?
Yeah, it was part of one of his many jobs. He was a jack of all trades.
Okay, did he spend a lot of time on a boat?
Major Waterman.
Now, when you say Waterman, for the people that don't necessarily know what a waterman is. What is a waterman?
They live, breathe, eat, survive on the water.
On
If
the
the
water.
world ended today, he would be out on the water and finding some way to eat, survive.
Okay, so
Just a true waterman.
what you're telling me is they thrive in the element of liquid water, the Gulf, the bays, and they find all of their needs in water through resources like shells, clams, urchins, fish, know how to fish
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
using
He was
local
showing
resources.
me as a child how to find, clams and teaching me how to swim and, and what to avoid and all that kind of stuff. At
What
the
would
age of
you
5.
avoid?
What would I avoid?
Because you didn't avoid very much from the stories
yeah.
that you told me. We'll get into that. But
Yeah, I was a bit of, a risk taker.
what did he tell you to avoid, though? Did he teach you to avoid?
Well, you know what? He didn't really teach me he really didn't teach me to avoid. He just taught me to respect. Respect the ocean, respect, the animal, just respect the ocean.
Yeah, I mean, after all, they were here first, right? Local wildlife? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on.
Oh.
Right on. Well, given, you grew up, now, when you were growing up, did you spend a lot of time out on Boca or Palm, or which island did you fancy the most?
He took care of Palm Island before it was being built. So there was nothing out there. And he drove the barge back and forth for the workers when they were first building Palm Island.
Mm-hmm.
So I was probably about 6, 7 years old, out on an island with barely any light. And, we'd go out and stab for stingray or, do different types of fishing, that kind of thing.
Now, I remember.
He was a night watch there.
Oh, he was a night watch. Okay, now I remember you. I think you were telling me a story about a pool, and
Oh, God, yeah.
somebody
That's he got fired that day.
Okay, so let's rewind. Ernie gets fired. There's a pool involved and fish, and I kind of vaguely remember the story. What happened?
It was a weekend I was spending out there, and he got upset about, I don't know if it was his boss or the owner of the place of Palm Island. I'm not sure. But he's like, Kim, we're going to go collect a bunch of minnows, and we're going to dump them in the pool. So I'm like, all right, Dad, let's go. Let's go collect minnows. So we did. We went and collected hundreds of minnows.
Mm-hmm.
There was a pond that had minnows in it. So the salt water would drain into this pond and drain out.
Yep.
And there was all these minnows. And we just started scooping up the minnows. We went and got ghost crabs, the little white crabs that run at night. We go chasing those things down.
Now, while this was going on, did you know what his intentions were with these minnows? Well, when you were getting them?
No, not at
You
the
had no
time.
idea. You thought you were picking up bait.
Probably. Thinking back, I think we were just having fun and, fun things. And, so we're heading to the pool. And he's like, all right, let's dump it in the pool. I'm like, I remember thinking, like, I don't think we're supposed to do this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And at the time, I was like, okay, so dumped them in the pool.
Hundreds
And hundreds of
and
minnows.
ghost crabs and everything in the pool.
Yeah.
And that was the last that you heard about? Do you know how the owner or anything reacted? Were you there for that one?
Yeah, I think the next day he told me, I knew he got fired the next day, so he was like, he was a little mad about that. That was his exact words. Yeah, he was a little mad about that.
Oh boy.
And I'm like, yeah, I guess he would be.
Oh boy. Now, wait, there was some other time. He, if I remember right, he wasn't mad at you. I think you were telling me one time where you saw a look on his face that was just scared, and I think you were in the water with him.
Yeah, but he probably had that look on his face a lot with me because I was always doing things, you know, when my stepbrothers at the time, with one of his wives, was shooting a gun at a target, and it was one of those dart guns.
Uh-huh.
And of course, here I go, running right while they're shooting.
You're running from the gun.
The time, I was over on Inglewood, the little bridge heading towards Minnesota Key.
Mm-hmm.
And he would dive those bridges all the time, snorkel dive, and we'd hang out on the edge. And his wife at the time, I just kept jumping in the water, just swimming and jump out, jump in, jump out, jump in. And I was in, and all of a sudden he came out from underneath the bottom and grabbed me and threw me up on the side and started yelling, "Don't let her in the water." So apparently, while I was jumping in the water, a shark was circling me, and I didn't know it. But he was underneath and saw the whole thing going on and came up and just scared the shark out.
You know how big the shark was?
I have no idea.
Oh, yeah, and how old were you at the time?
I was around the same age because that was the last time I really spent time with my dad, was when I was like between 6 and 8.
Right, but you knew just from your dad's experience and his knowledge and everything, for him to come bolting out of the water like that and toss you up onto shore, it had to be something
he had his
massive.
eyes on me the whole time, and apparently a shark did too. So, it was a close call.
Well,
There's always been those close calls. Grow up here in Florida, and they're always there.
No, of course they're always there. We've had close calls all throughout our lives and probably never even known it. I mean,
Didn't even know it.
Me myself had a couple of them, and, so have you, obviously. But now let's go back just a little bit, because you said he went to shipped off to Vietnam.
Yeah. Before I was born, he was there in.
Before you were born.
Yeah, he was there in '68 and '69.
Okay. All right, you were born in '75.
Just if anybody can hear that gnawing, that's Rebel chewing on a bone.
Yeah, they can hear that. They can hear that. And just, one of those things, we're dog people, we're animal people, animal lovers, and we always have them around. So if you hear them barking in the background or whatever, it's our family.
Well, I wouldn't have been able to do this podcast because he'd be up in my lap trying to get my attention the whole time.
Well, we know if you grab your phone and start using it, he's going to be all up in your face. So,
Yeah.
But now, what do you know? But first off, thank you very much. From myself personally and everything, for your father serving the country, and while he was over there, he was exposed apparently to some certain things or chemicals. Can you?
Agent Orange.
Okay.
Yeah, he was exposed to Agent Orange and ended up passing from the exposure, and he had his Shima-Cart disease, which is a form of disease from Agent Orange.
Okay, and then he contracted while he was over there, and he contracted unbeknownst to him.
Well, they all did. And that's why there's a lot of the claims going out, for them.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because
for their families.
They're, these government claims and everything. You were unaware of this, and this was one of, apparently from what you've told me, one of his graceful, unselfish acts.
Yeah, very unaware that he had filed a claim when I was 17, and he was denied. But then after he passed in 2005, I think it was around 2008, I got a letter saying they approved it, and he received full benefits and service-related death, and which, you know,
We don't need any no dollar
Yeah.
amount or anything like that, but it was a pretty good substantial amount that came from the government because of his service-related death.
yeah, it's very strange how it all happened. It's great that it happened when it did, and that would have been in the time, because the way he was, he would have benefited for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But money wasn't his thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, this guy, I'm sorry, your father. I have a feeling that if him and I were to get together in our younger years, we would have got along pretty well and caused some havoc.
yeah, I would say that.
Now, tell me, we used to have, I just want to touch on this too real quick before we get into it. There's another historic place here in town called Whiskey Corners. And if anybody has any little stories about Whiskey Corners, want to reach out to us, you can visit us on the website,
I'm
www.twistedcracker.com.
sure many wives of Inglewood have stories of Whiskey Corners where their husbands hung out.
Well, yeah,
all these years.
that's fine. We know everybody went there and hung out and all that stuff, and there was a drive-through. We could go and pick up.
I don't know if
beers and whatnot,
I'm wrong, but I'm sure my father was there while I was being born. But I'm not too sure if it was Whiskey Corners or if it was somewhere else. But I have to ask my mom about that.
Okay, that's not what I wanted to touch on, and go into that. But he apparently got something happened where he brought was it a live shark or a gator into the bar?
I heard a story that he got pissed off because they wanted him out of the bar, and so he came back with a 3 to 4 foot gator and threw it in the bar. While the patrons were, while it was still open. But
I love it. Oh my God, you do that nowadays, you'd be rung up on all kinds of charges. You do that back in the day, you were like, oh, did you hear what he did?
yeah, when he was alive and during that time of the 80s, 70s, and 80s, they'd call the Charlotte County deputies and be like, Ernie's drunk. And they'd be like, all right, we'll get him home. And that's...
Well, that was our small town back then, where the patrons
that's
helped
how
one
small it
another,
was.
and the officers and cops. They still do. The first responders, thank you for your service, and whatnot. They look out for us, but they looked out for the individuals of this town in a different way. They looked at us as neighbors and friends.
We were people.
Yeah, right, exactly. Very, very well put. So, now I know you said that you did. You want to talk about your father on the podcast. What was that signal triggering moment? That thought, that fleeting thought, that caring thought, that loving thought, the thought of your father that you wanted to let everybody know about, that just popped into your head and said, you know what? I'm going to come out of my shell and I want to talk about my dad.
Well, for one, he's probably one of the most twisted crackers. And I thought it would fit perfectly for this podcast. And I've always kind of, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, as far as like Florida strong, cracker strong.
Cracker strong.
What am I looking for here, hon?
Florida strong. You are looking for the true essence of a Floridian. What makes us who we are, the culture that we have, and everybody tries to come down and emulate. Oh, I'm gonna go down to Florida. I love the heat. I want to be a Floridian. Well, guess what? You don't have salt and sand in your veins.
Yeah, growing up here, it wasn't about laying out and getting, sun. A lot of times it was about finding food, fishing and, catching our dinner for the night. That was the one thing. We didn't have any money, but we ate good.
Yeah.
We ate real good. And yeah, my mom said that the other day. She's like, "We were poor, but we ate real good."
Well, no, and that's because your father knew, and everybody knew back then, how to go and
And we
live
were
off the
happy
land.
poor. We weren't miserable poor.
Mm-hmm.
It was a happy poor. At least I was. They made sure I was happy.
Well, that's kind of okay. Let's look at this from this aspect. That's kind of a oxymoron in itself. And you were happy poor? No, I say you were happy rich. You had a good, fun childhood, happy. I mean, from an aspect of coin and money, yeah, you probably didn't. You didn't have very much, but as far as knowledge and everything, you were rich.
Well, yeah. I mean, to a degree. When we saw all our rich friends having all the stuff, and that's when we kind of like, but that's all materialistic stuff.
Yeah, but let's look at, okay, stop right there. When the shit hits the fan, okay, and your rich fuddy-duddies, buddies, whatever, are driving the Jaguars and the Porsches and the Cadillacs around, and the shit hits the fan, who are they going to come and ask for help? The people that know how to live off the land, the people that are living, and eating well every single day. You're not going to them and be like, oh, hey, the world stopped and I need some money. No, the world stopped and I need some food. They're coming to the crackers. Mm-hmm. That's what's happening. We're going to take a brief moment here. I got to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Hold on. All right. We're back. I had to use a plunger actually for that one. That was exciting in there.
TMI, honey. TMI.
So, well, it's a fact of life. We all poop.
You like to talk about it a lot.
Well, some people think it's a pretty shitty topic. Anyway, going back, to your dad, how he grew up, how you grew up, and everything. After, you said you last kind of hung out with him, saw him at what, 6, 7, 8?
Yeah, I was between the ages probably 6 and 8.
Mm-hmm.
I did see him briefly when I was getting in my teens, 11, 12.
Okay, now if I'm touching on a touchy subject here and you don't want to go into it, please let me know. But was there a reason why there was that disconnect and lack of visiting and seeing him?
A lot of it had to do with I was getting to that age. I was getting to where I'm going into middle school.
Mm-hmm.
More involved in sports.
Mm-hmm.
And doing other things. And I kind of just, he was having issues and going through a lot. And so I didn't want to kind of be around at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was once I got into becoming a teen, it even got worse. Where I'm like, I don't want to have anything to do it at all. And I just went on with my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I barely heard from him. I think a couple times when he did call. I'm just like, I'm fine. You take care of yourself. You just take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how it was.
I get it. I understand. I do understand. So.
And a lot of it is, and I didn't find out until he passed. He suffered PTSD from Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
And as I got older, I got more aware of things.
Mm-hmm.
So the more I got aware, the less I wanted to be around.
I see.
So that's kind of how, we left it.
Okay. And then when did he pass? What year was that? Do you remember? Can you
2005.
2005. Okay. Well, is there anything else you'd like to say about your father, who he was as, a person growing up, what you remember about him the most?
The one thing I'd like to say is, if I don't say it choked up, is
It's okay. Say it, because a lot of people, they want to hear it. They need to hear it because they need to say it themselves and they're too afraid to. Have the strength. You do. I know you do.
though. The one thing is he had a big heart.
Mm-hmm.
And even though he suffered a lot, he was willing to give his shirt off his back, even if he didn't have one.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Not very many people do that anymore.
no, they don't. They don't. It needs to be done, and I know that's where you get it from, as well as some other influential people in your life. But just from the stories that you've, told me throughout the years, this I know for a fact, and I've never met the man, and I wish I have. Wish I had the chance to meet him. But the fact that he pushed through the remainder years and the end of years of his life thinking of you and submitting that claim and pursuing it showed what kind of heart he had. So, Thank you very much, hon. Thank you for telling us about your dad.
You're welcome.
Love you, Ernie.
Love you, Dad.
So, on that note, I also
You'll never
wanted
hear from me again on this damn podcast.
Yeah, you will, folks. Yeah, you will, because there'll be times where I'll be doing the podcast and I'll say something wrong and she'll be like, God damn it, Steve, what are you saying now? No, I'm kidding. That's not going to happen. Well, it might happen once or twice. But no, want to also mention that there's a lot of different resources out there now you mentioned PTSD. PTSD is something that is out there and is known a lot more about it now, and there's a lot more resources. So if you or a loved one or a family
Warriors
member,
Project.
yeah, Wounded Warrior Project, one of them. There's a lot of different other, the Valhalla Project. Well, I don't know about the Valhalla Project. I know Wounded Warrior Project, but there's a lot of different resources out there that if you, a loved one yourself, suffering from PTSD, please do not be afraid to speak up, ask questions, go find help, because that's the most courageous thing that you can ever do in your life is ask for help and assistance when you need it. So Kim, I love you. Thank you very much for sharing. And on that note, seeing that you sat down and we did this interview, you're going to get 20% off of a shirt of your choice and a free sticker. You can also check out the merchandise that we have that Kim is developing daily. Our daughter, Emma, actually, she was the one that came up with the Twisted Cracker design, and you can find that design and many different designs on our website, twistedcracker.com, and that's cracker with a K.
And I'm the K in the cracker.
Yes, she is. And Rebel's looking around, he might start barking here. But check out the merchandise. Also, the podcasts are going to be loaded onto that website as well. We also have a YouTube channel. You can check that out for other different videos. And one thing that I am going to do, that we're going to do is we're going to find a couple different resources on, PTSD and other different hotlines and resources that if you are in need and need help and want to get help for you, yourself, or a loved one, you can find that on our website and reach out. So that'll be coming in the next couple of days. But
And, just to make touch point on something, you got a story of your own and how you met your biological brothers. I think that should be the next.
Well, okay. Now, you remember what you just said. You're never going to hear from me on this podcast again. You're going to be doing an interview.
Oh. Yeah, I just screwed myself there.
Already using your words. But I would like to get a hold of Alex and Jeremy to see if they want to join on the podcast, because that's going to be a long one. That whole story. We can keep it brief if it's just me, but given if we start to interject with them, it's going to be about a 2 or 3 hour podcast. So let's touch on that story next, and this way you get to know more about us and Twisted Cracker and how our lives are twisted, and we're fighting battles of our own, of which people that you see every single day in life, you have no idea what kind of battle they're fighting. But if we come together and we care about one another, we can help each other through the battles that we are fighting on our own that others don't know about. So care for your neighbor, love your spouse, don't forget to tip your waitress, and visit www.twistedcracker.com, and that's cracker with a
Yay!
Have a good night, folks.